The Ford Broncos, they have tons of room. I mean, check out this little window. It opens. I mean, what are you doing in there?
Well, I was undercover till you came along. I'm investigating this website of yours. Complimentary lifetime powertrain warranty, 2-year maintenance warranty, no commissions for salespeople or for managers, and a $25,000 lowest price guarantee. That can't be.
It's true, Barney. Guys, make the short drive to North Country Ford in Arab or Jasper, Alabama, where I promise you you'll be glad you did. I'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Coffee Time. Get your cup of coffee, enjoy the rest of the program. Keeping what we do each and every year at election time, we bring all the candidates in for our interview right here with us on Coffee Time so you can meet the candidates. And I got a special guest in the studio with me today. That'd be Mr. Trent McCluskey. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Tommy, I'm great.
Office for Coroner of Walker County.
That's correct.
That's good. Appreciate you doing that.
I appreciate the folks letting us do that.
Oh, great, great, great. It's good to have you. Now, you've been in Walker County all your life.
Pretty much, yes, sir. I lived away. I did foreign mission work even.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we pretty much, the entire upbringing was right here, Tubbs Hill community.
Tubbs Hill community.
Yes, sir.
Jasper High School.
Walker High, yes.
Walker High School.
Formerly
And that
Walker.
day it was Walker High School.
That's correct.
I still call it Walker. They
Yes,
get on me a little bit, but that's all right. Tell me about your family.
Well, my wife Tammy and I, we forgot our age and we started adopting children.
Come on.
Yes, sir. We've got a little boy, Jacob, and Jacob Elijah Jet McCluskey is now 4 years of age.
4 years old.
We've had him since he was 2 weeks old. We are also foster parents, and we have 19-month-old children that we're caring for that we've had, and just as happy as we can be, Tommy. Just stay busy and active.
Well, you're just doing that's a great work to be a foster parent and
we love it.
And to adopt a child like that.
And of course, we have our natural children and
both sides of it.
That's right.
What a deal, what a deal. What made you decide to run for coroner?
Well, Tommy, I've been affiliated with the coroner's office most of my adult life. I worked when Fred Burke was coroner. I worked with him and saw a lot of situations where that Fred gave a good example.
He was.
And then I worked with Bob Green, and again, Bob was coroner part of the time while I worked for him, and tremendous man. Enjoyed gleaming from both of those gentlemen. Different approaches, tremendous lessons. And then when J.C. Pohl was coroner, I was a deputy coroner and actually made numerous calls. And certainly now I work with Regional Paramedic Service, and we're on many scenes where unfortunately people lose their lives.
Yeah.
It's a ministry, Tommy. It's not just an office.
That's right.
You know, I say to folks, every office, every elected position is a position of public trust. But the coroner's office,
yes, sir,
that's an office of sacred trust.
Now, I'll give you an example. You mentioned Fred Burke. My dad died with a heart attack, laying in the bed, and Mother laying beside him. He took his last breath, and
yes, sir.
Mother knew then. So we called Fred Burke, and Fred came to our home, went into that bedroom, but that was the situation, how he handled that, helped my family.
Yes, sir.
And that's what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. The coroner has a role to play by the Code of Alabama, and the coroner will determine manner of death, not method of death. Method of death is a man was shot. Pretty evident there's a gunshot wound. But was that accidental? Were they hunting? Was he cleaning a weapon? Did it misfire? Was that homicide? Did someone intentionally fire that weapon and take this person's life? Was it natural causes? Even though there's a hole in this person, did they have a medical situation that caused them to die as they went down? And some of those things, of course, then you have undetermined and natural causes as well. So when we talk about the role of the coroner, it affects every family. And it's to be approached with sincerity, with dignity, and not to be taken lightly.
That's true. That's true. And then after you called it the scene of death.
Yes, sir.
In other words, that's
Yes,
you
sir.
have to go to the scene of death.
Tommy, you think about it. Every scene you go to as the coroner, the angel of death has just been there.
That's been already gone.
Yes, sir.
But been there.
Just been there.
Been there.
Yes, sir.
What a story, what a story. Now tell me about some of your past jobs, past experiences in the county.
Sure.
You've been around 2 or 3 places.
Yes, sir. Didn't change jobs a lot, of course. Over the years, I worked with the sheriff's office for 25 years as the jail administrator. Went to work there approximately 25. I worked with the state before going to the sheriff's office and transferred that retirement in. I worked at William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility for a time. And then in March of '95, I was employed at the Walker County Sheriff's Office, worked up through the ranks, became the jail administrator. We oversaw the transfer from the old jail, was hired under the consent decree, which indeed did condemn the old jail, and then transferred to the new jail. So had a lot of experience interacting with the judges, with mental health, with attorneys in the area. So very important background.
What's the main, of course we just discussed that, but the main function, describe the main function of the coroner's office.
The coroner has a lot of responsibilities. The coroner is the custodian of records. He or she will have those records that are some of, and another thing, the coroner needs to be able to discern what's a public record and what's a protected record. Know what to release and what not to release. I have a Juris Doctorate degree, and I understand that there are things which are protected. I understand you'll be working with other agencies. I understand that if there's an ongoing investigation, that you need to know who is investigating and who is in charge of the investigation and consult with them before making any release. And I further understand that if those records are created by taxpayer dollars and put into the custody of a public servant, those are public records. So there are exceptions to rules, as always, but there's certain information within those records which may be redacted for a time or perhaps protected for a cause. So,
and of course the records are protected, or maybe there is a homicide like you talked about.
Sure.
And that's got to be protected because there could be a trial down the road.
And likely
they could bring that to the trial.
Sure, and likely would. Now, in fact, the coroner may very well be called to testify. Suppose there are photos that are taken on the scene. Suppose there are measurements which are taken. Suppose there's question about who has been on that scene. Furthermore, let's consider that as the coroner might be subpoenaed, he or she may authenticate photographs that he or she has taken. He or she may authenticate reports which he or she have written. They may further need to articulate to the court why they've reached their conclusion. Did they consult a medical examiner? What background does this person have? When was the last known well? How did you determine time of death? So there are many things that the coroner should be able to at least give a plausible answer to.
To go on the scene. Of course, in each case there, most of the time, not every time, because you may find a body alone, in other words, nobody's around, no family, nothing. But in each case, most of the time, family is involved.
That's correct. Now here's another thing, Tommy, talking about duties of the coroner. The coroner is to identify the deceased. Now we're in a transient society. There are some people which may have no identification on his or her person and wind up deceased. The coroner's responsibility is to identify that deceased and to notify the legally defined next of kin. Then to take personal properties from that individual into custody. Those are to be itemized, records kept, and those are to be released to the rightful person. So it's quite a responsibility, and it's one that's not to be taken lightly. It's one that should be approached with sincerity, compassion, and dignity.
But you do evaluate and make a list of everything there on the scene that belongs to that person.
I certainly would.
Driver's license, billfold, glasses, you name it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. In addition to the coroner in Alabama has the authority to appoint deputy coroners. Now, there's a process for that, and there are some legal requirements. The requirements to be a coroner is to be 25 years of age or older, a resident in the county in which he or she chooses to serve, a registered voter, and to be able to vote to serve in that county, and to be able to appoint those deputy coroners. He or she must be able to take them in front of the county commission and have them recorded in the minutes of the meeting. Doesn't stop there. The coroner must be able to be bonded, and be bonded. The commission should seek a bond on the coroner, as with each deputy coroner. Therefore, you have a certain level of integrity.
Yes.
Just from the beginning.
From the very now. In your past, now how many? First of all, deputy coroners. How many can you usually do? 1, 2, 3, or?
I think each coroner has varied in how that's operated. I have a plan. Tommy, we need to improve the response time to the scene of death. We have 4 districts in Walker County, and I hope that we could have, in preparation for good qualified response, 2 deputy coroners per district.
2 per district?
Per district.
8 total.
That's what I would want to have. Now, I'm not going to operate by proxy. Certainly, I would be the elected official who goes to these scenes. But in the event of, we're approaching the anniversary of a tornado that destroyed a town and multiple deaths. And we could be separated where trees are down and we can't get certain people to certain places. Carbon Hill, Cordova, wherever it might be, we need to have people that are trained, that are able to respond, that are able to stand on their determination by the training they have and be able to articulate why they've ruled, what they've ruled, and to, with dignity, remove the deceased from the scene.
Now, the training that's involved for the deputy coroners, is that a state event or is that your event?
The state requires 12 hours per year of continued education for the coroner and deputy coroners. However, I think we will have more training, and we will have some training that will assist with being able to testify, be comfortable with testifying in court. I've testified as an expert in both federal and state courts, and I'm very comfortable with that in the courtroom. But at the same time, the one thing that none of us have seen yet is that next call, Tommy.
That's right.
And we don't know what it's going to be like. You know, I can name scenes to you that I've been able to experience, and it's an entrustment to be on these scenes. I remember one on a dead-end street in West Jasper just prior to Christmas. A special individual was hugged with his mother. They burned to death in a fire trying to stay warm. And Connie Rowe was the chief of police, and we stood there on that scene and discussed what a sacred moment that we'd been entrusted with. And I can think of other scenes here. We saw the death of 3 at the funeral home at Bells of Summerton. We have seen many such scenes where babies have died and various ones. But we come back to this. The function and the role of the coroner: to be firm in the law, be fair in the practice, and compassionate in the application.
You're exactly right. Because that family and that time of need is, you're important to them. You come on that scene as the authority, if I would use that term, the authority on the scene, and they've just lost a daddy,
right,
a mama, a brother, a child.
Well, and let me say this, Tommy. You think about wanting those deputy coroners in each district. We have numerous volunteer fire departments in this county. What a place to look for deputy coroners.
Beautiful.
They already know the scenes. They've experienced it. They already have part of the training. The coroner cannot do his or her job without fire. They protect us from traffic with their vehicles. They show us our way through the scene. They assist with the removal of whether it's a patient or deceased. They even show us if there's a biting dog where it has been contained.
Right.
So they're very helpful and an essential portion of the coroner's operation. We'd be remiss not to salute our fire and especially our volunteer fire who spend of their own means to be able to get out and serve their communities. And the coroner simply could not carry out his or her duties without these people.
There are times when you as coroner, maybe a family situation, maybe even a vacation day or two every now and then.
Sure.
And that's where they are so important to you.
That's right.
To come on this scene.
That's right. You think about the mere inconvenience. As two of us seek this office, a mere inconvenience of a 2 a.m. call on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning for us is a devastating, lifelong memory for the family we reach out to serve. I asked for this entrustment knowing, that phone's going to ring. Knowing, that is going to be inconvenient and it's going to cause some changing and shuffling of schedules. Understanding that there are going to be some times when there may be someone who's done harm on this scene that hasn't yet been apprehended.
That did happen. I want no family involved. I won't say anything about that, but that did happen where we had a homicide of a mother and daddy together, and the scene had the man who, or person, if you will, that did that was on the scene when the coroner got there.
Right.
So you have to be very, very considerate of all of that.
That's correct. And certainly the coroner is not in competition nor running an investigation that is to undermine or supplant that of a criminal investigation that law enforcement is conducting. The coroner will work in conjunction with these other agencies, hand in hand, and in support of what they do, while he or she has an independent role to perform functions to determine manner of death.
Is the hospitals, do they do their own, or do you go to the hospitals?
The hospitals usually have licensed physicians.
That do that.
The legal answer is it depends.
It depends.
It depends. Where the death was, if the doctor, when they receive this person, says there's no sign of life, contact the coroner. If efforts are made to sustain life and the doctor says we never had life, contact the coroner. So pretty much the people who are there, when the coroner is contacted, medical has already said life has ceased.
Okay. So you do have involvement with the local hospitals. All right, we got 1 minute left. I want you to look in that camera, Trent, and talk to our voters about voting for Trent McCluskey.
Well, I certainly love, we talk about loving Walker County. There's a word called community. It's our common unity. And without that spark of life, we have no unity and we have little left in this world in common. So I ask you, if you would, to consider our common unity and allow for me to work within the office, to manage the office of coroner, so that we can make certain that the services rendered are done in an efficient, professional manner with compassion and dignity that is deserved by the citizens of Walker County. I thank you for letting me come and visit with you in your homes this morning, and I also thank you for taking the time to consider voting for me for coroner of Walker County.
Trent, we thank you for coming in and being with us today.
Thank you.
Good luck to you out there on the voting trail as you go in and about.
Thank you so much.
Don't leave us. We'll be right back with more Coffee Time.